welcome once again everybody to NASCAR Busch Series Racing this week from New Hampshire and the New England 200. They'll split by owner points this week. That puts Kevin Harvick and Scott Riggs on the front row, followed by Jamie McMurray and David Green in row number 2. Ron Hornaday and Brian Vickers start alongside each other in row number 3. Row number 4 features Jason Keller and the winner of last week's race in Chicago, Bobby Hamilton Jr. Casey Kane and Ashton Lewis Jr. will start alongside each other in row number 7. Winston Cup veteran Joe Nemechek on the inside of row number 9 today. Row number 10, you've got Tim Fedowa and a lady starting today's race, Tammy Jo Kirk in the number 49 car. Johnny Sauter and Derek Cope alongside each other in row number 14. Ron Barfield and Damon Lusk behind them. A couple of Winston Cup veterans, Dave Blaney and Jeff Burton, alongside each other in row number 18. And Morgan Shepherd making a start on the inside of row 19.
This racetrack just a little over 1 mile around, 1.058 miles, so it's 200 laps, 211.6 miles the distance today. $897,000 purse, 2 sets of tires allowed to change under caution, and there are all the facts and figures you need to get set for the green flag. Kevin Harvick and Scott Riggs on the front row.
One more fact.
What's that?
It'll be real slippery these first couple laps.
Green flag, green flag.
Wow, there's a lot of guys running high.
Kevin Harvick leads into turn 3.
We got a guy
Trouble.
going around out of 2.
Off turn 2, it looks like Bill Hoff in the 93 car sitting sideways across the track.
No yellow yet.
NASCAR waiting to see if he gets it fired up and drives away.
Now,
and just as the caution comes out, he gets it fired up and drives away. What was that you said about slippery?
it's slickery. Especially here in New Hampshire, always, the first couple laps are really hairy because you're running side by side, the tire pressures are down, and it's tough getting through the corner, so you get some heat in the tires.
And we're back underway. Kevin Harvick leads. Scott Riggs is second. David Green third. Brian Vickers fourth. And it's Jamie McMurray in fifth, feeling a little pressure from Bobby Hamilton Jr.
Oh, McMurray in that one car has his hands full. Oh, someone bounced off the wall.
That was Stacy Compton, I believe. And,
Yep.
and on
And
these
another one back there, just in line. It might have been Coy Gibbs.
somebody's got something going on his hood there. Anyway, on a restart, you can get on that high line and make some time up because everybody tries to get down the bottom, so it's slower down there, and you could usually pick up 2 or 3 cars, and I believe that's what Stacy was trying to do. I don't believe he was trying to hit the wall off the 2, but
No, not advisable.
On board with Ron Hornaday in the AC Delco car as he gets by Stacy Compton.
Here's what happened off turn 2. That's Stacy in the outside lane. Boy, it must be slippery up there.
yeah.
Because the guy right behind him,
With Shane Meal.
Shane Meal, almost drove into the wall too.
And when Shane backed off, Hornaday jumped on the inside of him. Let's see what Ron Hornaday sees.
Oh, they both got
I think they both got the wall.
Yep.
Wow. Now Hornaday trying to get another spot. There he goes on the inside of
Hamilton Jr. for 6 there, BP. How about Hornaday, Matty?
Well, I spoke with Ricky Byers of Trucci this morning. He said that at one point during the final practice session, the car was so good. He said, look, nobody make another suggestion. Let's just leave the car like it is. This is the same chassis. We got a battle for second. Same chassis that Hornaday lobbied Richard Childress again. A chop snout chassis. He won with that Nazareth.
Scott Riggs in the 10, David Green in 37, the top 2 in the NASCAR Busch Series Championship, racing for second place. Now, if you're not familiar, there are separate point standings kept for owners and drivers. Kevin Harvick is a Winston Cup driver, does not run all the Busch Series races. How did he get to start on the pole? Well, Richard Childress fields that car in all of the races, and they've accumulated the most points owner-wise between the 2 drivers, Harvick and Johnny Sauter. So even though Scott Riggs in that yellow 10 is the drivers' championship leader, he had to start second in this race to Harvick.
I could even understand that,
Yep.
the way he explained it.
Very good, Alan.
Very
And
good, Alan.
The NASCAR Top 10 is always talking about drivers rather than cars.
And so from third place on back, you see them all bunched up together. Had that ride on board with Ron Hornaday a minute ago. Tomorrow we've got more in-car camera action for you with NASCAR in-car on in-demand, in-car camera channels, virtual dashboards, real-time in-car data, and live team audio. 1-888 Sports In to order on digital cable.
Like Hornaday's taking the spot for 5th.
I talked to those guys this morning, to the crew and to
Whoa, easy,
Hornaday. Boys, and watch Hamilton Jr. try to make it 3 wide off of 2.
This is going to get up.
And the lap car in the way. 93 Hoff, who was the spinner there back at lap 1.
They all wisely backed off before they got to turn 3.
Hornaday's looks like he's getting through the center of the corner a lot better than the 1 car. He just turned right down underneath him in the middle of 3 and 4. So I think eventually he'll get by the 1 car.
You saw the pass for third place as Brian Vickers went by David Green to pick up that spot. Now we watch the race for 5th.
Looks like the 1 car is probably just pushing up the racetrack in the center.
Boy, look at that front end drop when he hammers the brakes on that 2 car, huh?
Yeah, they run these front springs so soft trying to get the car down on the racetrack so air doesn't get under it. When they slam on the brakes going in the corner here at Loudon, the front bumper or front air valence almost drags the racetrack, and most of the time does.
I'll tell you what, these guys are running side by side here at Loudon. I mean, through the corners. We haven't seen that for a while.
This is what the track owner, Bob Baer, was hoping to see when he redesigned that lower lane of the corners last year, and then with the fresh pavement put on it this spring. He was hoping to create 2 equally fast lines around the racetrack.
I'll tell you what, look, so far right now, it looks real good.
The lower lane with less banking, but a shorter way around. The outer lane with a little more banking, but a longer way around. Theoretically would be just as fast as each other.
And Hornaday is going to get frustrated in just a minute. Drive down the corner a little bit too hard. He's going to go up, hit the 1 car, and they're both going to spin out.
He's using more race car right now than the 1 car is. Probably on the brakes. There you go.
Very nice.
Although the Hamilton, I thought Bob Jr. would take advantage of that, but
It was generous of him, wasn't it?
The only thing I said was wrong. They didn't spin out.
Yeah? Good call, though. There's the gap all the way back to the yellow car. Now things are starting to heat up a little bit for second place. Rick's starting to feel some pressure from Brian Vickers in the 5. And Ron Hornaday and Jamie McMurray closing in from behind. Here's Vickers, a 19-year-old out of Thomasville, North Carolina. First ever NASCAR Busch Series race here at New Hampshire for Brian Vickers. You know, we talked about Tammy Jo Kirk earlier. Tammy is a name familiar to veteran fans of NASCAR racing, but has not been around in a number of years. Last time she ran a major NASCAR race was November 1998 in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Former top competitor in the NASCAR All-Pro Series, ran the Truck Series for a few years. A 41-year-old out of Dalton, Georgia, who runs a motorcycle shop.
Works on motorcycles during the week. That's correct. Marty?
And guys, remember the last female to run a NASCAR Busch Series race was Tina Gordon earlier this year at Talladega, and she finished 10th. And I joked around with Tammy earlier. I said, can we expect the same thing from you today? She said, you know what? I just want to complete all the laps today. That would be a gift to me. They are planning to run her in this car for the remainder of the year, she said. So the biggest key right now is just some experience. And while you guys know, time on the track is one of the biggest things.
yep, this is true. Laps help. This is a fun place to race, too. 17 car there. BP looks like he's not making a whole lot of ground up.
This is hard to believe. Kenseth in that 17 car is running 21st. Matt, what's going on with Kenseth? We expect him to go forward. Now,
BP, I spoke with Matt right before the final Winston Cup practice session today. He said the 17 Busch car was not good. They were going to make wholesale changes. The car was tight, then loose, then loose, then tight. He said they weren't too optimistic entering today, but how many times has Matt Kenseth said that? They come home a top 5 or a winner. But right now, the biggest concern they have, the water temperature has climbed to 250 degrees. He's tried to back off, try to find some clean air to cool down that water.
I got you.
Now, they can't back off too much, Matty, because Harvick will put him a lap down here if he
Quickly.
doesn't get a move on it.
Kenseth is entering turn 3, and Kevin Harvick is already midway down the backstretch. So he's got to keep pedaling pretty hard to keep him going a lap down and hope for a caution sometime pretty quickly. Of course, Matt, if today doesn't work out all that well, starts on the pole for tomorrow's New England 300.
Got a fast car, too.
Yeah, he was one of the quickest in final practice that you saw earlier today here on TNT. Kevin Harvick, the race leader in Richard Childress's 21 car, has driven in the NASCAR Busch Series 7 races this season. His worst finish is 10th.
Battle for the 6th position between David Green, Bobby Hamilton Jr., both guys that run the entire NASCAR Busch Series season.
Kevin Harvick is the leader of the New England 200, and he is beginning to put a lot of cars a lap down. He's got a 5 3/4 second lead on this race for second place.
And it is a great battle between the 5 car. Brian Vickers at 10, Scott Riggs.
Moving in deep that time. Will it hold? I think Scott gave him a little break there on that one.
Well, not yet. Okay. He was afraid Vickers was going to.
He was sliding in the door. Yeah,
exactly.
I was talking to Clyde Vickers, Brian's father, in the garage here this morning. He was talking about a race about 5 years ago where these two guys, I think at Orange County Speedway, ran side by side for 150 laps, back and forth.
Wow. What were you doing when you were 19?
Let's see. What was I doing when I was 19? It's so long ago.
How about you?
Working for a car factory in Detroit.
You weren't driving a big league race car, though. No. Yeah. Marty, how about the 10 car?
Pretty good run, a little experimentation going on for Scott Riggs. His car is a little bit tight. Now, at most racetracks, when your car is tight, well, in VP, you know this, you can kind of ride it a little higher. So he decided to try that. I'm going to ride half a lane higher than everyone else, see if it works, see if it makes my car handle a little bit better. It didn't work. His car is still tight, but he tried it nonetheless. We got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, you're going to go up there and you're going to try it. The problem is if you got a guy behind you that's working the bottom good, you're going to get past pretty quick. If you leave that door open, somebody's going to try to fill it, and that's exactly what happened.
He's still running higher than anyone else. Watch the 10 cars. He goes in at least 6 or 7 feet higher in the turns than Brian Vickers. And that's not because he wants to go up there, it's just where that car wants to be.
So this for second and third place. Jamie McMurray there in the 1 and 4th. All this about 5 seconds behind leader Kevin Harvick. Check out a couple of other guys. 12 cars, Tim Fedewa in his first race in this car. Started 19th today. He's up to 16th now. Right behind him is teammate Casey Atwood in the 14th, who's made some big progress from 38th up to 17th.
Now that has been impressive, watching Casey Atwood in this Navy car come through the field.
Of course, that 12 car had been driven by Kerry Earnhardt up until this week, where the team made a driver change. It's been kind of a lousy week for Kerry Earnhardt. This was last Saturday at Chicagoland. Car gets away off turn 2. He slides right into the path of Ashton Lewis, who clubs him in the driver's side door. Kerry was okay, but it took him a while to get out of the car because his shoes were caught in the pedals and different things. But he was checked out at the medical center, then okay. Then later in the week, the team decided that they weren't making the progress together that they wanted to. I spoke with team co-owner Armando Fitz in the garage area yesterday. He said, to borrow a phrase from the other owner of the team, Terry Bradshaw, former Super Bowl winning quarterback, Kerry's been benched. Now, Kerry is here. He was standing in the team's garage area during practice with a radio headset on, listening to everything that was happening. I said, Kerry, how is this for you? He said, awkward.
Yeah, it's pretty awkward. And you're one, and let's face it, when you're a driver, you're wanting that guy to fail. You don't want that car to run good.
Certainly don't want to run any better than it did when you were driving the car.
You're not going to admit that.
Yeah. But for Tim Fedewa, a guy who's been struggling to find a regular ride for the last couple of seasons, this is an opportunity that, you can't turn down. Somebody offers you a seat, you got to climb in it, see what you can do with it.
No one is going to say no. Now, here comes McMurray in this one car. He closes in on the back of Scott Riggs. And once again, I might be as impressed with the one car today as any of them, because Everyone was telling me how bad it was, but Marty, it's not that bad.
Not bad at all, and I just went up to the car chief, John Wolf. I said, where did this come from? He said, I have no idea. They were horrible, horrible in happy hour yesterday. I talked to Jamie. He described the car as terribly unbalanced. They changed 3 shocks, 4 springs, sway bars this morning, and they hit it dead on the nose. Dave?
And Marty, of all the guys pursuing Kevin Harvick right now, the one he wanted to know about is the one. That's the one they're watching as well.
Well, the one car gets in the corner so good, and it gets through the middle good. Here, that's such a key because most of the cars slide up the racetrack, and if you can get your car to stay working on the bottom here, you're going to pass a lot of cars.
And he was running all the way on the bottom, down on the racetrack that has less banking. Now in turns 1 and 2, McMurray is back up where everyone else has been running.
And the leader, Kevin Harvick, into some heavy lap traffic. This is the 22nd place runner, Dave Blaney, in the 31, that just got put a lap down. See the caution flag waving for the second time in the New England 200. Oil from Tammy Jo Kirk's car has been dropped in turn 4. Her car just being pushed into the garage area. The yellow flag number 2 is out in this race at lap 63. You see the streak of oil.
There you see just behind the lights.
Yep.
There comes off the racetrack.
And just up inside the yellow line too, just up above it. So can't have that. That doesn't work out well.
It's not good. These tires have no tread. When they hit some oil or moisture like that, around you go.
Pit road is closed. They just radioed out to the teams so that they can get the cleanup trucks out and clean that oil up so nobody crashes coming into pit lane. So it's going to be another lap or 2 before we see the cars come down pit road. Kevin Harvick, very impressive so far. He has lapped up to the 23rd place car, Casey Kane. He slowed way down, coming back to the caution flag, and let a couple of guys get themselves back on the lead lap, including Dave Blaney and Johnny Sauter, the 43 car.
Okay, now I can see why he was being a gentleman about it.
Right, the other driver of that 21 when Harvick isn't in it. That's going to be messy.
Pit stops are underway here in New Hampshire. Brian Vickers second on the racetrack. He has the first pit stall. Left side tires going on. A wedge adjustment already completed and an air pressure adjustment. Marty, his car was tight everywhere.
Opening in front of Scott Riggs should be an easy out. His car gets tighter the longer he runs. 2 rounds up on the track bar. 4 tires, Dave.
Leader Kevin Harvick, 4 scuffed tires, a little air out of each left tire to try to keep up with this tightening racetrack. Fuel in the car, waiting to send him off. Crew says go. Kevin leaves.
And wow, did he gain a tremendous amount on pit road. They'll close back up on him, but what a great stop.
All right, here we go. I'm sure Harvick will get a good start. Riggs needs to be right on his tail for this restart.
And there you see on restart, that's where these cars will hit the accelerator, take
Green flag, green flag, green flag. Kevin's clear. And Riggs clear. Nope.
Oh,
that's not what you want.
Up the hill goes Riggs, loses a spot to Brian Vickers.
Boy, did you see all those marbles he ran through off turn 2 also? Now he's got to get all that worked off his tires before he can really go at it.
McMurray got a spot on Riggs there as well. And you're right, because he's got all that stuff on his tires now. It usually takes a couple laps to get all those marbles off the tires. He's losing a lot of spots.
And he's still trying to get up to speed as Hornaday goes.
Okay.
He's hollering about a flat. That's how tight things are in the NASCAR Busch Series. Ron Hornaday in the 2, Mike Bliss in the 20, racing for 4th and 5th.
And the 10 car, Scott Riggs, is still not up to speed.
Now he's struggling right now.
He's really struggling to get around the track. The left rear tire is very low, but they may run them that low trying to get some grip.
The last lap by for Riggs BP was a 32.5 second lap. The leader ran a 30.0. So he was 2 seconds slower than the leader, and he was running in second place on that restart.
That can happen when you lose a little confidence in your race car. I mean, you know, if you think something's wrong and you come in and you don't have a flat tire, then you start wondering if something else is wrong with the car.
This is the race for second place. Jamie McMurray in the 1, Brian Vickers in the 5. The black car just ahead of them, the 38, is the first car 1 lap down. That's Casey Kane running in 22nd place, trying to stay close to the leader and hope that maybe if a caution comes out, Harvick will be a gentleman and let him pass.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Lots more about the gentleman's agreement in NASCAR racing that flared up again last weekend at Chicagoland. Lots more on that on Discover Card Countdown to Green tomorrow here on TNT as we get you set for the NASCAR Winston Cup race, the New England 300. Brian Vickers is going to win one of these NASCAR Busch Series races sometime soon. Couple of second-place finishes this season. He's got 6 straight top 10 finishes. 8 of the last 9 he's finished in the top 10. He's putting himself in position to win. Now it's just a matter of having everything come together and wind up out front with the checkered flag waves.
And at 19 years old, one of these days he'll win one of these, a NASCAR Winston Cup race. It won't be tomorrow, the New England 300. He will not be in that race, but one of these days he will be.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. by David Green for 6th place. Of course, David's standing to take over the NASCAR Busch Series championship lead if he can continue to have a solid top 10 day, and Scott Riggs is not able to make some kind of an amazing recovery from that tire issue that he had just a few minutes ago. Well, now, I was down in the garage area this morning talking to Kevin Harvick's crew chief, and he said, did you hear what Bobby Hamilton Jr. said on your broadcast last week? And I said, you mean the part about putting his foot on the competition's throat and holding him down to the ground and running over everybody to try and get the win? And he said, yeah. I said, well, what was your problem with it? He said, you can't say that. Oh, yeah?
He did.
Listen to what Hamilton Jr. said today.
Whatever it takes to destroy the field, win the points, win the races, and get everybody sponsored to come to us. I mean, just destroy the whole Busch Series field is what we're trying to do. And if we can do that, that puts a lot of pressure on these other guys, and they forget about working on the race cars, and they just give us a better advantage. So we're digging. We're doing everything possible to win races and to keep everybody, like I said, they're facing the mud and digging with it. And that way, if we can do that for them, they're already beaten.
I love it.
And Busch, he probably shouldn't have said that, but he did.
I love it.
It's true. What he said is exactly true.
And there's Bliss in the 20 car trying to get by Hornaday. Drives up on the outside. That's a battle for the 4th position. And he's about to lose that spot to Bobby Hamilton. He drove up on the outside, left the bottom open. Here comes Hamilton.
Whoa,
oh, look, contact.
Trouble.
A little more contact.
That's the 8 tires is better than 4 theory there.
I'd like to see that again.
Around he goes.
I was going to say, it looked like Hamilton drove him up there on that deal, and obviously they had a disagreement there.
That's not good. Caution is out. 3rd one of the race. Lap 83.
And I tell you, Bliss is a guy in that 20 car that is finding a hard time catching a break. At Daytona, remember, crashed off turn 4.
The lap car lost control and hit him.
Let's take a look at.
Oh man, that's a mess.
Because this started way early. Kind of driving down in here. Hamilton slides up into the 20 car. The 20 car drives up, gives him a little bit of room. This is what I don't understand. Hamilton goes back after him.
Think he thought the 20 turned down into him and crowded him getting into the corner?
That could be. I didn't see it that way.
And off of turn 4.
Well, it's hard to say. I can't see any intent there. There very well might have been. Dave?
Well, BP, they're radioing in. Bobby was talking to his crew saying, I just washed up into him. They also weren't happy with the way Mike treated them on the lap before that, but Bobby says the car did get out from under me.
Yeah, here we get from a helicopter cam. Hamilton goes in the corner. He goes in really hard. And then,
from that view now, it does look like the 20 came down on him a little bit.
I think that when he made contact, I think it kind of got Hamilton's wheel going back and forth. That's why he went up the racetrack and they made contact again.
Well, we've had a little boom town here in New Hampshire as Mike Bliss got sent boom into the inside wall off turn 4. He and Bobby Hamilton Jr. in a little bumping and grinding incident that Should make for some interesting post-race comments.
I think Mike Bliss's interview will be colorful.
All right, here we go. Restart line. Harvick nails the accelerator. Scott Riggs on the bottom of the racetrack, trying to hang there, get a lap back. But Harvick just drives away from him.
Riggs, one of about a dozen cars who came down pit road under the caution flag and hoping to take advantage of being the first one a lap down to see if he can get a lap back from Kevin Harvick. Harvick did let Casey Kane back around him coming to the caution flag.
That one car is all over Harvick right now.
Marty, did the 10 car have a right front flat earlier?
When they pulled the tire off of the right front, Denny, it was not flat, but here is the problem. When they pulled it off, this is what the right front tire said. Left front. That's why Scott Riggs was feeling the car being so awkward. They had the left front tire on the right front. I talked to the crew chief, and he said, you know what? My fault. I've got to take blame for that.
Okay.
Big mistake. We'll see how it plays out for the rest of the day. So Scott Riggs finds himself in 22nd place, the first car one lap down, the championship leader coming into today. Best race for the lead we've had since they dropped the green flag. Jamie McMurray and Brian Vickers all over Kevin Harvick. Harvick has led every lap so far today.
And it looked, Harvick, I don't think, has slowed down. I don't think that McMurray and Vickers are running any faster, but Harvick has slowed down about a quarter of a second from his earlier speed.
Ron Hornaday running 4th, Hamilton Jr. 5th. Joe Nemechek is up to 6th, Scott Wimmer 7th, David Green has fallen to 8th, and Jeff Burton is into the top 10 in 9th. Stacy Compton rounds out the elite pack, he's in 10th place.
I think Harvick's running that car just as hard as he needs to. Looks like the one car of McMurray is using a lot more race car than Harvick is right now.
We just mentioned that under the caution, pit stops were made by Mike McLaughlin, Matt Kenseth, Dave Blaney, and Casey Kane among cars that are on the lead lap. Those are the only 4 that pitted under the caution.
But those cars really couldn't afford to change tires because then they wouldn't have any more tires for the rest of the race, so they just made adjustments and added fuel.
Right, the tire limit that NASCAR imposes on the Busch Series, they are only allowed to change 2 tires per position under caution, so you can only change each tire on the car twice under the yellow flag today. So you think Harvick's playing with him?
I do. His car looks really good. It doesn't look like he's driving it hard. Real smooth through the center. Now McMurray's car is working really good getting into the corner and just through the center, but it seems like he loses a little bit right through the center after he gets through the middle.
Harvick's already won a couple of Busch Series races this year, Bristol and Richmond. At this racetrack, his best finish was 2nd back in 2001. He led 165 of 200 laps that day and wound up not winning the race.
I'm not too sure, Wally, that he's playing with McMurray. I think right now Jamie in the 1 car has a little bit better car in the 21. I know one thing, he's running much higher line around the racetrack, but he is bringing that car off on the bottom. McMurray is going in, letting the car drift up, and then making a diamond of the corner and driving it back off on the apron. And it is working for him, working well, especially down here in 1 and 2.
Talked with Jamie McMurray's team owner, James Finch. And James told me he's spending a lot more time with the race team this year than he had been spending recently in previous years. Moved the team up to Spartanburg, South Carolina from their former base in Panama City Beach, Florida, which is where Finch was headquartered. They're closer to where all the chassis manufacturers are, the Laughlins and the Hopkins and so on, where they make the chassis. And Finch says he's spending about 70% of his time on racing and 30% on his other businesses, in proportion of the way it had been in years past. He said he's got other people handling the construction business and so on.
And the 21 car now, Wally, is starting to pick up the pace. He ran the last lap he ran was almost the fastest lap he's run all day long, like 1/1000th of a second.
Johnny Sauter was running 7 about 20 laps ago. Now he's running 2nd, and he's 2 3/4 seconds behind leader Kevin Harvick.
And about 2 to 3/10 of a second a lap faster.
And Hamilton Jr. goes by McMurray and takes over the 4th position.
Jeff Burton was just on pit road for a stop, a very early stop. Apparently he had a tire going down on the 9 car, but he is good to go to the finish on fuel and tires from here. What he needs now is for the race to stay green until all the other front runners make their pit stops. Now Bobby Hamilton Jr.'s got a little bit of a nick on the left rear corner of his car, courtesy of this exchange with Ron Hornaday.
Yeah, I think he...
Right rear, I'm sorry.
Thought he was clear. Hornaday just let him know, no, you weren't clear yet.
Little slide job coming off the corner.
Whoop.
Good job saving that ride.
So Hamilton Jr. now up to 4th position, and he is 4 1/3 seconds behind leader Kevin Harvick. Leaders all pitted under the caution flag at lap 66. So assuming they go 90 laps on fuel, that'll be 156 when they come in again.
Gas and go.
And you see that we're at 137 now. No, I'm telling you, haven't run that long, I think I'd get some tires.
How much fuel? They got to dump in, well,
1 can anyway.
Dump in 1 can, so. Yep. Why not?
You know, we talked about at the top of the show the Winston Cup drivers versus the Busch drivers. Where did he put Johnny Sauter? After all, he has driven now a Cup car. He's driving the 4 car tomorrow.
And drove it last week at Chicago, but those are his first and second.
His first and second starts. But, it just shows you what someone, he now is a Winston Cup driver, so he feels good about himself.
The charge is on at New Hampshire International Speedway. Kevin Harvick has led all 140 laps that have been run so far. Maybe not any longer than this one more.
That 43 car is a rocket getting in and through the middle of the corners right now.
Watch him, he just drives in the corner 3-4 car lengths deeper than the 21 car of Harvick.
See ya.
Man.
Johnny Sauter is the show. New leader, first time all day in the New England 200. Sauter has come from deep in the field.
27th
is where he started. He was 7th about 30 laps ago, and now he's leading. Dave?
Well, Kevin Harvick's car has gone just a little bit loose on him right now, but Butch Hilton, the crew chief, radioed to Kevin, watch that 43. He must have put the good set of tires on. Just keep digging, driver.
Yeah, if I was that 43 Butch, I don't think I'd take the tires off that race car.
I think I'd put some fuel in.
Go one more lap. Go one more lap.
Is that Joe Shear talking to Johnny Sauter, or is that the Kevin Harvick crew?
Yeah, that is the 43 radio.
So he's going to come in 1 lap. Well, it'll be interesting to see if they put tires on it.
So he's going to pit with 56 laps to go. Just after taking the lead.
There we go. There's the guy's hand out. These guys got to be on.
That's right. Now this race can be lost.
Second gear, Johnny.
Right here.
They can't.
200, second gear.
They can't win it, but they can sure lose it in the pits.
Don't speed.
Don't slide the tires.
Oh, he had to avoid Mike Bliss's car, who was just coming out of his stall. Matt?
He lost some time trying to get around Mike Bliss. No adjustments for Johnny Sauter. He has come out of nowhere. They had a plug wire off earlier in the race, lost a lot of positions. There's trouble.
Oh, no!
That just did it right there.
Barfield has crashed. The caution is out.
What rotten luck.
And because Sauter's team was committed to 4 tires, he's going a lap down. There's the orange and white car of leader Kevin Harvick that has just trapped Johnny Sauter a lap down.
Man.
Can you believe it?
I cannot believe it.
Man.
I mean, how could it be that the lap that he makes his pit stop, there's a caution flag?
It always seems, though, that that's the gamble when you come in first, or you're one of the first guys in. That's always the gamble. That come around and bite you.
Ron Barfield, Florence, South Carolina driver. In the 91 car, you see unhooking the safety apparel. His 5th start of the season, and it's going to come to an end up against the retaining wall with a badly damaged car in turn 4. 4th caution of the race. Jeff Burton, as well as Johnny Sauter, going to be pinned a lap down to the race leader by that caution flag coming out after they've made their green flag stops.
Now, he'd be at the tail end of the lead lap when these guys come in?
If Burton doesn't pit, yes.
Yeah.
Matty?
Brian Vickers has been pretty much tight all day. They're going to make a track bar adjustment on this stop, trying to free him up even more. This will be a 4-tire change. Dave.
21 of Kevin Harvick is in now. 2 right side tires, a little bit of air out of the right rear tire. That will help tighten this car up. It had gone loose on him. This will help him hopefully stay in the front after this pit stop. Ask for water, nice pack as well, and he'll be the first one off of pit road.
Couple guys getting 2 tires there.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth's right. He got 2.
Yeah, I believe Scott Wimmer just got right side tires. Marty.
Long pit stop for Jamie McMurray. His car was extremely tight. They had a problem with the rear tires. The gun got stuck. Get this, guys, what you call a big adjustment. 4 rounds up on that track bar.
Okay, so a big shakeup in the race here after the thing had stayed kind of been very streamlined all day with Kevin Harvick just dominating the field. Johnny Sauter runs up, takes the lead, makes a green flag pit stop. The caution comes out. Now on the stops, we got guys taking 2 tires. Jamie McMurray, one of the contenders, has a problem. He loses track position.
Look at how low that left front tire is on that 21 car, VP.
And Sauter's going to pit again here. Matt?
The reason why the 43 is coming back in, Johnny Sauter's team left a lug off on that pit stop, Alan.
So he had a chance to get on the tail end of the lead lap there.
Insult to injury there.
Tough break there. End of the crash there.
I don't see any other cars around Barfield. Look how high that thing was up in the rear. Well, he didn't jump him.
I'm just going to see how much of a gentleman Harvick will be now. Because I wouldn't give him his lap back.
I don't think he can do too much about it.
Remember, Johnny got 4 tires. Harvick only got 2. See if that makes much of a difference. Here comes David Green to the inside of Johnny Sauter. Caution is out. There is debris on the front straightaway.
Okay, here we go. Let's see.
Run hard. So there.
He's going to do it.
Wow. Well, he's got to, doesn't he? That's his Childress Racing teammate.
Yeah, unless he gets beat by him.
And David Green is 45 years old, but guess what? He was going for the lead on that caution flag. Did you see that? So, David, we found out you are no gentleman either.
All right, I'm writing this one down.
You did the right thing there, Kev.
43.
I mean, we don't need to tear our stuff up.
Yeah, you did the right thing there, bud. Just run your race. Good shape here.
Riggs has got his hands full.
Check it out. David Green all over Harvick for the race lead.
Looky here. Go, David.
Harvick was wiggling and wobbling all over turn 4, and Green shoved the nose underneath him and went on by. So it's Kenseth 3rd, Vickers 4th, Wimmer 5th, Hamilton Jr. 6th. Behind these 2, David Green, Kevin Harvick.
Harvick's searching, looking for somewhere on that racetrack, VP, that he'll give him the grip, but David Green's running the line. He wants it, and he's not making any gains.
And David Green is running a good lap time. Looking at the scoring monitor in our booth, he's running as fast as Harvick was running when the 43 car came up and passed him.
All right, drivers, you're going to help me out here. You take David Green's spot. You take Kevin Harvick's. What are you doing right now in that 37 car, Walt?
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to be smooth, and I'm trying to hit my marks. Exactly what David's doing. David knows that this is his race to lose. If I make a mistake, I know the 21 car is going to get by, so I just got to run where that car's got the most grip, keep it straight, not make any mistakes.
And Kevin, in the 21 car, I've got to get up on that back bumper of the 37 and try to make him make a mistake. Get up, rub him if I have to, just a little bit. But don't bump him, just rub him a little bit if I have to try to get him to make a mistake.
Harvick's hunting lines. He had those left side tires all the way down on the yellow line at the bottom of that flatter banking in 3 and 4 that time.
He's trying to get Harvick in the 21. He's trying to get that lower line to come in. He's coming down. He's trying to get some grip because I think he realizes he's going to have to do it on the inside.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, unless if David doesn't make a mistake, he's got to find another lane to pass him.
Yes.
David hasn't buried more than a foot off his line for about the last 20 laps, so he knows, you know.
And if you watch the line that David's running, he's not going to give Harvick a whole lot of room to get down underneath him. Harvick will probably have to slide up into him a little bit.
Inside of 10 laps to go. I talked with David Green about this track's reconfiguration in the garage area Friday. He said when you race off into turn 1, you almost have to mentally picture a cone sitting on that line that's one up from the very bottom of the track, and you have to try and arc around the cone to dive into the corner like that.
Well, his car has more of an arc right down
way up the track there
than the 21 car has. 21's going in lower. He's getting in a little bit deeper, but David Green's car is getting off the corner better.
Third place here, Matt Kenseth, 17. Brian Vickers, 5.
Vickers looks like he's gobbling them up.
Not able to squeeze underneath.
Those guys in the garage area this morning were correct. Brian Vickers, that 5 car, does have, in fact, a very good race car. Put him in the lead with where the 37 car is right now, and I doubt very seriously that anyone could pass him.
And that's what Ricky Craven told us with Bill on the pit cruiser earlier. Track position is everything here. Vickers diving hard into 3. Look at this.
Oh!
Matt shuts the door.
And Matt's in the same position. Matt's just going to run his line. He's going to make Vickers go other than where he wants to run. Vickers almost got into him that time. Vickers looks like he's quite a bit better in 3 and 4.
That's got to be frustrating when you've got a car that you feel is better than the guy in front, but you can't get around it.
See, right here.
Oh, there's some contact.
What I was going to say is he needs the racetrack where the 17 car is on. He gets in underneath them, but he can't hold the car down low and maintain the advantage.
Once again, that low groove that we're talking about that the 5 car drove down onto has about 3-4 degrees less banking than the second groove that the 17 car is running in.
As you saw, you're not missing anything up front. Kevin Harvick still a couple of car lengths behind David Green, not able to get close and make a charge. And now they come to 5 laps to go. For a race that was dominated by one driver for so long, we've got some drama here in the finish of this one at New Hampshire. As David Green tries to hold off Kevin Harvick for the win. Dave?
And Alan, that car has gotten better all over the track. Talked to Jason Radcliffe, the crew chief, earlier. He said, we're set up to run the low line. Look at the line he's been running. It's not right down there on the bottom.
It's working.
And there again, as a driver, that's what you do. Run wherever the car dictates that you have to run. Normally, they all run in the same spot.
Yeah, he's just about in the middle.
Yeah.
He's not real high and he's not on the bottom. Right in the middle.
Reviews on the racetrack. We talked about the reconfiguration and the repaving before the start of the race.
I'll tell you what, I love the way this racetrack looks right now. I think the Bears have done a great job. There seems to be a lot of grip in the corners. I mean, I think they did a super job. That's what this place needed.
I'm impressed so far. I have been very much impressed with the racetrack.
And there doesn't look like there's a lot of buildup on the racetrack. We've had that problem here in the past where the rubber chunks and you get these big rubber globs in the corner. And I'm not seeing that either.
And it looks like the surface is staying together.
Gives us something to look forward to for tomorrow's New England 300 for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. 2 laps to go. Will David Green make a mistake? His experience would say no, but Kevin Harvick is trying to apply the pressure and see if he can take the victory away from the former series champion. Behind these drivers, the race for third is settled down. Matt Kenseth is nudged in line ahead of Vickers, who's had to back off. So they're coming to the white flag.
I think Harvick used all that he had with about 10 laps to go. He tried and gave everything he had and just found out he didn't have quite enough to get by the 37 car.
And David did not make a mistake. I mean, he ran his race and he did what he had to do.
And he's off turn 2. Final set of corners coming up. David Green got the lead from Kevin Harvick just after a restart at lap 153. Harvick supplied pressure, but David has not faltered. The former NASCAR Busch Series champion is going to get his second win of 2003. For a second week in a row, the Busch Series regulars hold off the ambushers, and David Green wins at New Hampshire.
In victory lane at New Hampshire International Speedway, David Green emerging from the Timberwolf Pontiac, his second win of the season, and oh, a stage dive And the guys were on the stage. Normally, you stage your guys a little closer to the car in that case. So we'll come up here. They're not quite ready for me. You can stay up here if you want, David. This is where you're going to be all day long trying on those hats. You proved earlier this year at Nashville you could win, but what about holding off Kevin Harvick in the waning laps here?
Well, it's about as tough as they get right there, and the crew did a great job. Jason made a good call on the tires, and our car was good all day, but just track position. But, man, it's so good to have a good race team. Team Bruco and Timberwolf and everyone involved. Great race cars. The guys do a great job back at the shop. And our Bill Davis engines ran good today as well. So it was good to beat Harvick. But I'm proud of this team right here. These guys have rejuvenated my career, and it's been a lot of fun.
We talked with Jason earlier about putting the stickers on and how you really didn't like that. And then the car came to life after you put the two on, the two scuffs. Were you surprised how good it was?
Well, it was, and I think the stickers was the key, because when we come back and put two on, they matched up a little bit better. But we struggled yesterday. It was not a good weekend for us, but what a good way to turn it around. And I had some decals somewhere, I think, but we got to remember Adam Petty and Kenny Irwin. Adam, a good friend of ours, and we miss him. And this one's for you, Adam.
All right, David, talk to us about bumping and running past Kevin Harvick. You had to get him. Did you think you had to get him early on in that run?
Well, I was going to go as hard as my car would let me, and I figured I would do all I could do to stay with him, but he was having some problems, but I knew he had two tires like we did, and you know, we just as good as he is, and it was good to beat him, especially him. And but hey, my team can't say enough. We're going against RCR, Childress, Hendrick, Roush, the whole 9 yards, and these guys continue striving week in and week out. I want to say hi to Clarence and Tammy back home. You know, without their support this year, I wouldn't be driving, I'd be watching again.
One more question for the 1994 champ. You take the championship lead again today. Can you do it to the end of the year?
Absolutely. We've had a couple off races in between, and Scott's been right there to pounce on, and Harvick, or Hornaday, but I've never lost faith in my team, and I know they haven't lost faith in me. And but yeah, it's good to be back up, but it's not going to count until we get to Homestead. So hi, Kaylee, and Austin, Diane. See you later.
A very happy David Green outlasting a couple of Winston Cup veterans, Kevin Harvick and Matt Kenseth, for the victory in New Hampshire. Brian Vickers came in fourth, followed by Scott Wimmer, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Jason Keller, Ron Hornaday, Casey Kane, and Stacy Compton wound up 10th. Your second 10, headed up by Ashton Lewis. Behind him, Tim Fedewa, Dave Blaney, Scott Riggs, and Shane Meal. Jeff Burton wound up 16th on the day. Behind him, Tim Sauter, Damon Lusk, Coy Gibbs, and Larry Gunselman. Positions 21 through 30, Dana White, Jason White, Jamie McMurray, Bill Hoff, Johnny Sauter, Mike McLaughlin, Joey Clanton wound up 27th. Mike Harmon, Kevin Grubb, and Ron Barfield round out the top 30. Joe Nemechek wound up 31st on the day. Casey Atwood, Mike Bliss, Tammy Jo Kirk, Derek Cope, Norm Benning, Morgan Shepard, Jason Schuler, and Brad Teague. And rounding out the field, Jeff Spraker, AJ Alsop, and Justin Ashburn. Your point standings after 20 races: David Green takes over the lead again from Scott Riggs. Brian Vickers winds up third. That'll do it from New Hampshire. We'll see you next week from Pikes Peak.